So guys, it's your boy, this is your another video by Higurashi GOU. This is episode 9 and 10 of the review. I will not go into much depth in episode 9 because I will focus on 3 things and a theory, and then I'll move on to episode 10. Now, my theory, what we saw in the episode was Teppei is sadly here. We're in the debatably worst despairing arc in the series. Not worse, well, not worse as saying like, oh yeah, it's bad or anything. Like, this is actually the best arc in the question arcs. But it's the worst arc because of Teppei. Well, it's the worst arc because of how deep and how dark it gets. And kind of how confusing it gets. But Teppei is here, and he has medication? Was that even a thing in the... was that even a thing in the original VN or manga? I know it wasn't in the anime, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the manga, because I would have saw it. But this time around, he has medication. Okay. And also, Ritsuko is not there again. If you don't know who Rina or Ritsuko is, she is the woman who is dating Teppei. Now that he's out in Mizawa. And she's the one that we talked about in episode 3 and 4 about who Rina killed because of her dad. Because this will hardly not be revealed, but Ritsuko and Teppei were doing I guess it's like, well, a scam on Rina's dad. And that's why Rina killed Teppei and Rina. Even though Rina wasn't even though Ritsuko wasn't self-defense. Now you know. Now, to move on from that, is she dead in this arc too? Was she killed by the Yakuza? Or was she killed by Rina again? Or was she just not there? Or does she not exist in this, in the GOU timeline? Or in the GOU universe? I don't know. Also, we can see Irie. Finally, my man is here. I'm glad that we get to see Irie, because we didn't get to see him last, and only Damashi. So that was a big loss right there, but we got to see him this arc. And I hate that the anime only is her partner like, oh, ew, Irie. Because he actually is a deep and interesting character where you get to know him. Even though the annotation of him is still not good. Because the manga and VN go way into his backstory. And he also develops like everybody else. Now, a discrepancy with the GOU and original thing is, again, that, not again, but like, Shion is actually nice to Satoko. If you don't know, spoiler alerts, but from Onikakashi all the way to, well, all of the question arcs, Shion hates Satoko. Because of her not wanting to fight her own battles with her aunt and uncle, and forces Satoshi to fight her battles. And that's why Miyakashi happens in that one scene. So, yeah. But in this arc, Shion is the big sister, which is okay, that's really weird. And that adds on to the thing of episode 2 or 3 that Mion was actually Shion that I was talking about. So, yeah. Now, going on from that into the last thing, Rina didn't have her breakdown. Rina didn't have a breakdown in episode 9. what she does in the original manga, VN, anime, all three. She didn't have a breakdown at all. That's weird. She just stands there with her eyes fucking glossed over in the shadows. So, okay. I guess you can't have two creepy runners in the same span of time, but going off from episode 9, we go to episode 10. This is where it gets heartbreaking, to say at least. This episode 10, almost made me cry. Now, when I read the manga and watched the anime, I never cried. I never cried, even though sadly I can relate to what Satoko is going through with abuse. I can. And it's hard for me as well. Then I didn't really cry. This time, today, I cried. I almost, like there were tears in my eye. Tears. I was on the verge of crying my eyes out in my room, watching her scream and have a breakdown, and then the ending popped up, and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Keiichi has a vision of him killing Teppei, even though he never even met Teppei. So in his mind, he's just killing somebody. And I guess from the vision, he feels that that's like Satoko's family member. That's creepy as, I mean, that is trippy as shit. So Keiichi killing Teppei will not happen in this arc, which is weird. Weird because we don't know where this is going now. I don't know where this is going now. Satoko, we theorize that Satoko is going with Rika through the timelines. And she's probably the reason why we're getting these weird discrepancies in the timelines now. So, I don't know. We find out Satoko's entire backstory. We get to see Satoshi, which is a great thing. Finally, we get to see our boy, who actually does exist in this anime. I don't care if we get to see Akasaka. I really don't care. I just wanted to see Satoshi because he is a central part of the story. Keiichi has not gotten his bat yet. At all. Even though he has it in the opening. Okay. Golf club. Gets beaten by a door. And I don't know what's gonna happen this arc. But the tragedy of this arc is realism. It's relation over to real life. Because there are people in this world who are actually like that. There are parents in this world who are actually will neglect their child. There are people in this world who get dealt a bad hand in life and have to deal with stuff like this. I'm one of those people, sadly. So I can really relate to what Satoko is going through right now. Another thing that is also different, but it's that none of them had an argument. It was more of like a discussion of what we can do, because Keiichi's still new there. So So we're also viewing it from his eyes. What can we do to save Satoko? What can we do to get her out of that situation? DSS can't help because she already called them multiple times on her stepfather. And they think that she's lying now. Mion can't help because she called him last year. And Chie can't help because Tepe wouldn't let her in the house. Akechi can't help because he saw a vision of him killing Tepe, so he probably will not kill Tepe this arc. So I'm kind of sad we didn't get to see the powerless scene. We're powerless. Because that's the tragedy of this arc. This arc is probably the darkest arc in Higurashi. Just for that fact. Imagine your friend going through something like this. Their family is dead. Their brother is missing. And the town hates you. Also one thing, they didn't go through the entire town of Hinamizawa hating the Hojos. So you didn't know that if you're anime only. You're this far in my review. You're welcome now. So you're ostracized from your entire town. Your parents are dead. Your brother disappears. Your abusive aunt dies. Spoiler alert from the manga and VN. Some of your stepfathers were abusive to you. Your mother kind of neglected you. Kind of. Because she was still there for her kids. It was just she wanted her own happiness. And remarried. And how old is Satoko? 10 years old or 11 years old at the least? That is major psychological damage. Right there. Not even counting Satsushi stuff. How he always has to protect her. What he's going through on the inside because of a certain thing. I mean, I'm trying to get you in the mindset so you can sympathize with Satoko and her really tragic situation. And it makes it even sadder when you rewatch episode 9 of GOU and you see how happy she is just to be with Keiichi, just to spend time with Keiichi, and Rika's saying like, "Hey, you're like Satoshi, you're like her Nini." And in original OG anime, Shion fucking hated her. Like, to the point where, like, she wished that Satoko was the one who would die at the festival. Die at the festival, so she could touch the altar herself and try to comfort him. And then she hits you with a fucking... I mean, she fucking hits you with a chair, hits you with books, fucking cusses you, tells you you should die. And you don't even know that's your best friend's sister. Your point of view is that that's your best friend going off on you because you spilled your food on the ground and you start to cry. Have you gotten into her mindset yet? I hope you have. Because it is really, really tragic. Almost, I mean, it's comparable with the Shion's. In a lot of ways. People say Shion is the most tragic character, or Rina, or Rika. Look, Satoko is up there. Satoko is up there with them. It's like she is up there. I mean, just the amount of abuse and stuff that she went through in the last 2 or 3 years. And that's a time span. 2 or 3 years every single day. From the time you're like 7 or 6 to like 10 or 11. And some days were good and some days were bad. Have you gotten into her mindset yet? Because I'm not done yet. And when you finally have that connection with Keiichi, episode 9, and you see her face when Keiichi's parents call him and say, "Hey, are you ever coming back home tomorrow night?" And then you see her face, just that sadness on her face, because it reminded her living back with Satoshi, back when her life was good. Also, since GOU would never probably say this outright, Mio started a club because of Satoshi and Satoko. That's the only reason why. That is the only reason why. And that's sad. Like their only outlet of a good time was when they were in a club together after school. So Satoshi and Satoko wouldn't have to go home and face that. But they would have eventually, but not at this moment. I'm on the verge of crying right now. Just saying all this. Reiki 07 is an amazing author, writer. He is a person who can draw you into his work and make you fall in love with his characters. And I am so mad I didn't include all of this, what I'm saying right now, in my video about depression and Higurashi when they cry. Because this would have made it a lot more better. And some of the scenes in this episode doesn't really hit as hard as it does with the original VN or the manga. In the manga with Keiichi, he's more like, "Hey, we should do something. Hey, Mio, you should go and probably curse Teppei so he can die." Even though that's Satsuko's uncle. I mean, and it's hard to believe that there are people in the fandom that really hate Satoko. I just don't get. I mean, I can kind of get hating Takano for what she's done. And Oishi before the Tataragoroshi arc and the last arc. I can kind of get that. But hating Satoko in general, even after knowing her past, even after seeing her struggle, even after her getting her good end, even after seeing her get killed like that in Miyakashi, seeing her also develop while being killed, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. This is really hard to get through right now. It's really hard to get through. I just... So, they try everything in the manga in VN. In case she goes at Mio and telling about, hey, you got a mansion, take her in. And Mio's like, well, we're just on the Zakis. We can't just do that because people in this town don't like the Hojos. They ostracize the Hojo family. And then you got Keiichi just yelling and blaming everybody because of that situation. You got Rena, which I'm surprised that they changed her, well, her reaction to everything, because like in this episode she's like more like, oh, you know, Keiichi, stop, you know, she's doing her best. In the manga, she's like, she was fucking fooling, like, you fucking bitch. Well, you fucking bitch, you got a big ass house, Keiichi, how about you take her in? God, I love this. I love his characters. I just remembered, I saw a thing, and it's mostly in the VN. No, it is mainly only in the VN. I think it's Onikakushi or Curse Killing arc. It's somewhere in the question arcs where Keiichi was like asking a question, and his parents gave him like an answer that he didn't really like. It was something along the lines of like, hey, like, you know, you'll be okay, or like, I don't remember, but like they completely dismissed him in general. Keep in mind, I thought these motherfuckers were 17 years old. They're 15, 14 years old. I didn't know that. I'm one of the fans who thought, hey, they're 17, 16. Next year they'll be in college. I was wrong. I thought Rika and Satoko were like middle schoolers. Like fucking 7th, 8th grade. I was wrong. They're like fucking 5th grade. Jesus Christ. I noticed that because how short they are in this anime now. Like, I mean, their height is decreased. Seeing Oishi as compared to Keiichi's height, Jesus, he's like a foot taller than him. And like, he's more threatening too, because of his height. That's why I like the manga more, because like the manga, when Oishi showed up, he was more of a threat in this arc. He was more of an unknown, hey, I'm going to destroy your peaceful life kind of person. Also, you got a cop at Satoko, which is not even, it's not even like revealed why. Oishi is after Satoko until the final arc of the series. So you'll probably forget why he's after her, but you'll find out eventually. In the original VN, probably not in GOU. Also, I forgot to mention, Satoko saw her parents die. That's all I'm saying. She was there. So, and going by all that, Irie talked to Keiichi about their past, warning him about Oishi, which I'm glad that they actually kept the other summer familiar thing, because even though it will not play, it will not play a part at all in this arc in GOU, but it does in the manga and VN. But now to the final part, the differences, which I have to go to breakdown. And Rika's reaction to her breakdown is just tragic. Also, with Rika, when she went to Tepe's house, and she went to school, in case Mio and Rena was there, and Rika was there, you can see Rika in the back on the steps with the head down like this. And I was about to cry right there. Because you know, like, as an OG fan of Higurashi, VN, manga, anime, anything, you know what this girl is going through, man. You know what she's going through. That's her best fucking friend. I don't know if she gets to know what world she gets to travel through. I'm guessing I'm guessing that she's used to it now. Like, hey, on the Kakashi, God, what's it called? Tataragoroshi, Tataragoroshi, the one with Akasaka, and that's just looping. All four are just looping all together. So I'm guessing that she knows what's next after she dies. But just to see her reaction in the back, I'll say every episode, I love the reactions in GOU. The direction of the characters, I love it. I love how we don't get to see Riken being like, you know, we gotta take Satoko, like, she's internally, I mean, she's showing it with her actions. Like, just the way she was in the back, just sitting in the dark. Just represent she's in despair. Because she knows this. Because she's been through this like 100 times. And she got her out of that once. With the power of friendship. With the power of everybody in the village coming together. They got her out of that for good. Just to be put back in that situation. Tragic, man. This is one of the most tragic arcs in Higurashi. And I will preach to you, please read the VN of this arc. Please read the manga of this arc. Because the anime does not do this dark. Just does not does this arc justice. The amount of raw feelings. Fun fact, Raikisho 7 used to work with DSS. Or Child Protective Custody or service or whatever. He used to work with them. So he knows the ins and outs of that business. In the VN, he even wrote a thing like, hey, 50% of kids with abusive parents are also sexually abused. Like, they're physically abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused, physically abused. So he knows what he's doing. He even wrote a tip thing at the end of the arc, saying like, hey, no ill will towards any worker who does this, because you guys are heroes. But it's just a fictional story. And it really hits home. I hate this arc with a passion, because it reminds me of my life. I love this arc because of the mystery, because of the tragic things that happen. And even though there are things that happen that are out of the character's control, in the end, they save her. They get her out of the situation, even if it's not in that world. In another world, where they learn of all their mistakes, they were able to save her. Now, in the original annotation, Satoko had a breakdown. She threw up. She pushed Keiichi like twice. I mean, like sent him flying across the room. And with that, I like how she grasps the curtains, which I'm pretty sure she does in the manga. I'm gonna go check. Yeah, okay. So she does grab the curtains. If you can see that. Right there. Jeez, come on now. Right there. Because she got the curtains, and because of Keiichi touching her, she has a breakdown. and it's right there. He touches her head. He smacks it away. And just has a breakdown. Throws up. Curtain. And then Rena has also kind of has a breakdown also as well. Holding Satoko and crying with her. Well, everybody is crying. And then probably in the beginning, episode 11, we'll get the her stepping out of it scene. So, just to show you the differences, I like the manga and VN more than both GOU and the Dean adaptation. Even though Satoko was like, and if you notice, he didn't even touch her. In the Dean adaptation, and the VN, and the manga, he touched her head, rubbed it, breakdown. GOU, he just puts his hand towards her, not even touching her head, and she has a breakdown. And I was dreading this scene. Because I knew from seeing episode 2 of the dance, the whole dance with Rika, and Rena with the rope, that this is gonna be animated fucking brilliantly. I was going to hate this scene, because it was coming eventually, and now it's here, and now I hate it. I hate it because of how animated it is. I hate it because I just hate it. I love it, 'cause I'm conflicted. I like it because it's better than the Dean adaptation. She's more like alive with her movements. She's more like erratic with her movements. And when she throws up, it's not like I felt like this, and you don't see nothing, but like you just see her open her mouth, and then you hear it, and then she goes back up, and there's throw up everywhere, and she's crying. Like, no. And GOU, you see her throw up. Like it's a POV shot. It's a POV shot of her just spewing chunks. But it's like chunks, and all you see is her face and her eyes. And then you go back, and she's just sitting there, walking. I mean, she's crawling on her knees, trying to get to the corner. And she's just in the middle of not even in the corner. She's just there. Her villain, and I think she have villains too. I'm not sure. I've been talking for way too long, but I think she also has her villains as well. This I feel bad for you anime onlys. You don't know what's coming. You don't know what's coming at all. In this episode, not next episode. I don't know what's coming at all either. Now, my theories on the next episodes, she don't have to kill Teppei, because Keiichi isn't going to kill Teppei, because we already know. We've seen that he kills him. We've seen that he kills Teppei. We know, as old fans, we know. And as new fans, as you've seen that beginning scene, you're like, oh, he kills Teppei. Problem solved. But as you saw in Omidabushi, we got 3 bad scenes with Keiichi being like, oh shit, I killed Ren and Mio. And then he still gets stabbed anyway by level 5 Rena And then he's in the hospital. And then he probably dies in the end anyway, probably. Well, in the manga of GOU, it's more confirmed that his ass is dead. Cause his fucking ass fucking shredded that shit like fucking butter. But I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't.